Hey, welcome everybody to another Tech Tip Tuesday. Here we are in the middle of May, May 5th, 14th, almost the 15th, 14th. Man, I'm pushing it ahead a little bit. So thank you for being here, you guys. My name's Ken Close. I am a Healy World member like most of you guys here in the United States. Maybe not all you guys are in the US, but that's okay. That's where I'm at. I am joined by our awesome co-host, head of operations for the Americas, Jake Barron. Hey, Jake. How you doing?
Hey Ken, hello everyone.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we've got an amazing assistant person that's back there with those lightning fingers from customer service. Anthony's joining us tonight. Everybody say
Yeah,
hello.
he'll be here in just a minute. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, when he gets here, say hi. Um, you guys that are old timers or custom, or I should say regulars for our Tech Tip Tuesday, you know what's going on here tonight. But for you guys that are new, first of all, welcome. And here's what we do. This is a chat-based forum, kind of informal. We don't really have an agenda or a schedule. We're here for an hour, and what we do is we will take your questions from the chat. We'll pull them in live, unpack them, answer them, fix them, do whatever we do with them. Also in the background, our customer service rep will be back there also assisting. So this is a spot where you guys could come in live and get some help. Usually solve issues. I really like it when we are able to solve issues. So what we can't do though is we can't talk about anything medical, anything around diagnosing, preventing, treating, or recommending things for diseases, disorders, or medical conditions. So we can't talk about that, but pretty much everything else is on the table. I think, let's see, I'm ready to get started. How about you, Jake?
I'm ready to get started too. It's good to be back on Tech Tip Tuesday.
Yeah, we've had a couple of scheduling things where we couldn't be here, but
Yeah.
here we are again. And here you guys are. So thanks for joining us. I don't see any questions just yet. I know we're getting ready to head off to Mexico pretty soon, you guys. Maybe some of you guys are doing that as well.
Yeah, I hope it'll be great to meet a lot of people in person, either see some people again or see some people meet some people the first time for sure. And Ken's going to be sharing some tips as well from the stage there in Cancun. Looking forward to that product panel for sure. So,
Yeah, we're gonna have some great stuff. If you guys are gonna be there in Cancun, that's great. There's gonna be some great speakers, product information, and just expanding on the theories and technologies. So definitely try to be there. Um, Maybe I'll see you guys there. Let's see. We do have a question here. Let's see, Dory's got something that says, I have some Healy expert programs that were sent to me. Sometimes when I want to use them, they have the names they were sent with. Other times they are renamed a T2. Do you know why their names keep changing? And if they are still working, if the name is T2. So I'm not really familiar with why it would be a different name. The person that creates those programs for you kind of sets those titles. Um, and then they get shipped out. If you have multiple ones and they all say T2, I would be wondering, I don't know.
yeah,
Um,
again, I have a couple expert programs, but they're not. I don't have many listed there. So it's kind of course, a time waiver therapist feature, being able to create those programs and then send them to your Healy device itself into the expert programs area. So I would be curious, is the name, if you put into the chat here, is the name only T2 or is it T2 and then something else like the date or whatever along with it? Because I know at some point, I believe at some point there was some of the names switched from like a very descriptive name, which maybe could have been out of compliance, that kind of thing, to more of just the date or a program code or something like that. So Maybe if you could put it into the chat if that's the entire name. And also, are these, because we also have given some expert programs away from Healy, so not just through Time Waiver therapists, we have the prosperity program, the grief program as well. So I'd be curious what the actual full name is, if it's beyond just T2.
You know, another thing is too, is if they are a custom program from a specific practitioner, you can go back to that practitioner and see if there's anything that's changed on their end, compliance wise. If they had to change the name for some reason, I would definitely go back and ask that.
Yeah, and Lindley just mentioned, there was a comment about abbreviations were for compliance reasons. Yeah, if you can't have certain conditions and things listed there, because then you're kind of basically considering that a treatment for something.
Yeah, they're what Time Waiver can do is amazing. There's still compliance boundaries and guidelines. That has to be
because it ends up on the Healy device too. There's certain compliance measures that we have to take that might differ from something from Time Waiver in a sort of a medical or therapeutic practice.
All right. Let's see. So Marjorie's has got a question here about, or a comment. Let's see. When using the coil, should all programs be run at 100%? When using electrode bracelets, should we run the programs at lower intensity? So I love these questions because, I mean, the coil itself, and those of you guys, anybody that's new here that's not familiar with the coil is, it's an attachment that connects to the Healy hardware. This is kind of separate. It's something that was created a while back to convert the Healy microcurrent output to a magnetic signal. That's actually a dual wave magnetic signal that comes out. But you can crank that guy up to 100%. I mean, just remember that as the higher the intensity, the more load on the battery, right? So there is a battery in the Healy. You're consuming more energy because you're putting out more current, right? It's still converted into magnetic energy, but it's still initially current, right? It's still amps that comes out, microcurrent, and then it gets converted into magnetic signal, and it does deplete the battery. It takes a little bit. It's not quite the same ratio as maybe the electrodes are, but the higher you have it, the more it's going to pull the battery down. But you can have it 100%. In fact, I think let's see, 60% is about the minimum recommendation that Healy has for using the coil, to have it up there. You can run it lower. Now, remember what we're doing. We're taking the microcurrent out of the Healy that comes out of those probes, and it's in the amps, it's milliamps, and then that current flow, it's like water out of a hose, right? Water out of a hose. The water inside is the current flowing. Right. And we're taking that water out of the hose and we're running it through a coil and creating magnetic emission, like the water's in a spray form. It's a magnetic emission and it's just converting that over. So yeah. And when it comes to adjusting the microcurrent into your body, that's kind of you're the gauge. Like some people are a little bit sensitive to that current and they want to have it low. Some folks are used to it and they don't feel it as much. But the concept is not to be able to feel it. You don't want to have this sensation going on that's getting your attention, because now we're moving the body into like a concerned entity, fight or flight mechanism, where it's like, even though it may not hurt, but it's like your attention is on it. We don't want that. So you should not have to feel it, but use your own discretion. Okay. Okay, so Dory's coming back with some more information about sometimes the name is long and they are different and then they change. So they just say T2. Yeah, it'd be hard if you have several programs for different purposes and they all say T2. That'd be a little difficult to figure out which is which. And then they
I
change.
would see if you can check with the person that sent the program. Maybe they know some more details as far as
Yeah.
why the name might be changing or why it needed to be changed as well. Because if it is changing for you, chances are it's probably changing for other people that might have this program as well.
Yeah, it would be, I would definitely contact the person who created those for you. Yeah, see what they say. That's another side of Healy. It's really kind of a cool thing. If you guys aren't familiar with the expert programs, there's another page that's separate kind of from the ones that Healy corporate creates. And it's in your app at the very bottom, there's an expert tab. You can go there.
Mm.
And you can create like it's a handshake. It is a code that your Healy has. You can hire a time waiver practitioner to create custom programs for you, and then they can send them directly to your Healy or to your app on that page, and they show up. And these are for various conditions, things that you want to expand on. They can do customizations for you.
Yeah, it's mentioned that they were all T2 this morning. Now they're back to their long names. I'm just curious if you tried maybe just deleting and reinstalling your app to see maybe there's something strange going on with that. There has been an update to the app fairly recently as well, just to make sure that you have the most recent version and everything is fully updated. Worth trying that too, just to see. Simple to do with the Healy 2 app because there's no real memory. Okay, you are updated. Well, that's good to know. So
it may be the T2 may be a default placeholder for a name of some sort that it is another guess. It's just a guess.
yeah.
Understanding the way that the app works, the app is when it's displaying something on your smart device, everything it's displaying is code, right? It's all code that came from the source that created that program. So yeah, in terms of reading that code and projecting text on your display, that is part of the app's job. It's hard to say why it would be transitioning. It would be if T2 could be a default presentation on your display, a default meaning it doesn't know what to show, so it's T2s. If they're all the same, I would suspect a fault, not a proper function, because each one of those has an assigned code and has within that code is the name. So if they're all the same name, aka T2, then there's something that's misreading that content, and the only thing reading it is your app. So yeah, I would it's a good idea to try deleting the app and reinstall it. You're not going to lose anything because it's in your account, and when the update is created, it's that download from your account and all the content's put back in there. Okay. What do we got here? Miriam says something here about when I run all Healy programs in the resonance in the Blue app, and I get the 5 top programs, and often the percentages are in the 50s, whereas when I run the digital nutrition mix programs in that resonance, those percentages are somewhere 60 to 70%. So I think it's therefore better to run what comes up in the digital nutrition as opposed to what comes up in the All Healy. So this is a great perception to look at, because when we're doing an analysis, doesn't matter what the database is. When we're doing an analysis, it's going to assign a pecking order of influence for you. Okay. And irregardless of what the percentages are, normally if they're a lower percentage means that some of the programs that it has found for you, you may be already working on some of the content that they contain, some of the information they contain. You may be already be doing some things in your life that doesn't warrant that high of a percentage on the outcome of the analysis. It doesn't mean that when you run the program, that the effect on you is low. That's not what it means. Typically, even when we do an analysis and it nets us the 5 pages, when you go down and analyze each page individually, those percentages are going to change again. Okay. So I wouldn't get too hung up on the percentages as much as I would the order in which they are presented to you. It may be that because the digital nutrition database has higher percentages on the outcome, in other words, those different those different pages that it came up with for you, it may have a higher outcome just because it is with the content within there may be of higher need because you don't have them in your life. You're not working on them in your life. It's a different database, so different influence on your biology, on your psychology, on your spiritual self, on the whole being of you. It's a different influence. So I wouldn't get as hung up on the percentages as I would just the order in which they're coming to you. I personally like using the All Healy database just because it gives me some more variety as opposed to just being within the digital nutrition. Nothing wrong with both or either. Again, I say run them both. Do an analysis on the All Healy programs, but then analyze each one of those individual pages because you got 5 pages total. And within each page is a potential of 12 programs. That's up to 60 different programs, right? So you want to do an analysis on each one of those pages and drill down which ones are the top priority for you and kind of make an order from the very beginning page and the very first program all the way down the sequence to the very last page and the very last program on that page. And then do the same thing in digital nutrition. You'll get a really nice order of things to do.
I love this question because it's something that most people, when they're going through some of these analysis for the first time or early on, it's like, well, how can the percentage for one of the top groups be this, but then if you do it just analysis on that one group, the percentages be either much higher or much lower. And it's like you said, Ken, when you're doing all Healy program groups, that's a huge group of programs that you could come back with. And maybe there's 2 or 3 program groups that are very similar. So there's not one clear group that you need more than the others. But then if you narrow it down to a program group with, say, just 12 programs in it or digital nutrition mixtures that has more, 72, but you're looking at a much smaller overall database. And when you're looking just within that group, there might be some programs that are clear far and away the ones you need more than others right now. So it's not that you should run those more than the other ones. It's just it's a completely different analysis that you're looking at as far as what you're searching when you're doing a much more kind of a narrowed down analysis there too. So, again, you can certainly do both. If there's something your intuition is telling you kind of need to run in digital nutrition mixtures, and there's some that come up in the 60-70% range, that's a pretty high relevance. So definitely could be worth running those too. So
I remember when I first started with Healy, some of the relevancies, those percentages were quite high in the 80s and 90s. Right.
Wow.
And as I started working on, drilling down the programs, running certain things, most of my analysis are down in the 40s anymore. It just means that, we're getting better at taking care of ourselves. Right. And so those relevancies just wind up being a little bit lower on the percentage. Not that they're not relevant or not that they're not useful. And not that they couldn't change because of some lifestyle shift or environmental influence, because that can also happen. So, like I said, I don't get real hung up on those percentages. I just look at in which order are they presented.
Yeah.
Okay. We're caught up again. I like it. And Dory says that you're all updated. So, and that's good. Again, like I said, if you could do a test and delete the app and reinstall it and see what it does when it downloads. But if everything's working fine now, I wouldn't change anything. But again, I will always go back to the fundamental principles of your device, right? Your smart device that you're using to run the app. You know, how much memory is on it. How many of the resources from the smart device are being consumed by other things. How many apps you got running in the background. A lot of things about those kind of things. They really help the performance of the app that you're using on your screen in the present moment. So in other words, if you're doing your emails, working with your emails, close all the other apps in the background. Doesn't matter what they are, right? Close them out. Then your email refresh time and all the things you're doing with that app is going to be faster. Okay. If you're using Healy, same principle. Close all the apps in the background. You know, you don't need them. You're doing one thing at a time, right? Or you're supposed to be. If you're working on yourself, you're in the present moment. You're working on you and doing one very specific, very focused task, and that's taking care of you. So close all that other stuff down.
Okay. Okay, I want to switch gears here for just a minute while I know we got some more questions that'll be coming in here soon, but I wanted to, again, I always like to talk about new things that have been added to Healy Academy. You know, almost every week there's something new, and actually tomorrow for tomorrow's What's Up Wednesday, Alexa Gonzalez, who is our head of Academy, is going to be sharing some tips on using it on the business side, which is real cool as well. There's such great content there related to that. But let me just share something that a lot of people I don't think have realized is now there. But so in Academy, in the science section, so there's a newer section here, science, and then there's a medical certification. And this academy is actually shared with the Americas and Europe. So there's some content in here that's more focused just for the European market. But for example, this video on the right, the Healy PMCF, which stands for Post-Market Clinical Follow-Up Study, that's specifically, the video is in German, but it's for Europe. But this video on the left, Healy as a medical device, is it's very powerful as far as it goes through all the steps that it took to get Healy certified as a medical device. In Europe, there's its own medical device classification. In the US, where we have clearance as an FDA Class 2 medical device as well, but it goes through all the steps it takes to become a certified developer, certified producer, a certified sales organization for medical products. And it's not easy to do. A lot of companies don't bother to go through those steps, but watch this video. I think it was around 7 minutes long or something like that, but it's very impressive. I think you'll be very proud of Healy and what we've been able to do here if you watch this video and all the steps that it takes to become certified like that.
And that's the one thing I just love that about Marcus. He's the scientist, right? And he loves to do studies. I picture him like in the basement of the castle down there, like a little kid, you know.
Yeah.
But just you know, studying things and figuring out new ways to find out more.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
The MagHealy doesn't currently have the medical device classification at this time.
See, there's difference again. Because Healy is able to apply a microcurrent, there's a different. It can piggyback on science that's already here. And what's the piggyback? What science is it? Well, it's microcurrent. Microcurrent has been around, folks, since like the early 1900s. It's been around for a very long time. And it's just uniquely used with Healy. It's different the way it's used with Healy. Out there in the majority of the world, microcurrent is used, you know, as a stimulus in a topical way, right? In other words, an external topical way. The cosmetic industry uses it a lot. You know, you go in and get some treatments on your face or your skin, but Healy has created a unique way of piggybacking or using it as a carrier wave for very specific frequencies. So a unique way.
Yeah.
MagHealy was created again in another unique way, so that it can do again with Carolyn McMakin is to be able to transmit two frequencies at the same time. The MagHealy does have two sensors in it. It actually has two, well, it has two Kozrev mirrors in it, one in an open configuration, one in a closed configuration, meaning one that's open to the environment to kind of build that that energy shield in the environment. Another that's closed to the internal circuitry of the Healy, kind of building these shielding environments. If you take a look up what a Kozrev mirror does, it does build somewhat of a 0-point field. I still want to build one here in the US. They have one in Germany, you guys.
You could ask Marcus about it in a couple days in Cancun.
I'm going to. We had a conversation about this, by the way.
Yeah.
And I need to get the plans. Let's build one here. Let's build one at corporate, and then everybody can come and do tours.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. So follow up to the MagHealy. Do all the programs of MagHealy use dual channels or only the McMakin programs? Great question. And it's just the McMakin ones. Just the McMakin programs use the dual channel. And those were designed, again, if you understand the principle, and by the way, Carolyn McMakin has a great book out called The Resonance Effect. I highly recommend it. It's on Audible too, if you want to get it that way. But it's a great book. It'll help you really understand this frequency under this technology, the individual frequencies.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to your question though. These programs are designed, the two channel is for essentially for the issue and one for the tissue, right? So I love the way she explains that. But yes, it does run two exactly at the same time. Only
Yeah,
for
that's why you'll notice there's a different light pattern when you're running the McMakin programs. If you have it on position 3, you'll see that there's two colors on the side lights, the blue and the yellowish color, which indicates that the dual frequencies are running. You can tell that it's a McMakin program just by looking at it if you have it in position 3.
All right. Okay, so here's a comment. Let's see. Susan is saying, I would like to comment on the very cool result with my 3 German Shepherd dogs. I periodically run the blue dot, all Healy programs on them. One of my dogs is from working line. Hang on a second. There we go. I had to control something on the screen. Okay, one of my dogs is from working lines and is very close to me. Every time I run the blue dot on her, the first area that comes up is usually job. Good correlation there. She works with me and for me, and it seems to be stressful for her at times. Job doesn't show up with the other one, the other two at all. That's great. I mean, it's you know, again, what's that whole job page for? If we look at it's a combination job sleep. What's the job page for? Well, it's essentially, it is helping us to manage all kinds of content while helping the host, whether it's an animal or us as a human or whatever we're giving it to. It's helping us manage the circumstances around a job. And there's a lot of things from the physical aspects to the emotional aspects. But that's a clue, isn't it? It's a clue.
Definitely. Thanks for sharing that, Susan. We love to hear testimonials, examples of how this is actually working for people in their daily lives. So awesome, especially related to pets, because there's no fooling or placebo effect or anything like that when it comes to animals. And to see the results so accurate there with a resonance analysis is awesome. So
I had a great conversation around, I've been doing a lot more lately around consciousness, and because I'm working with other entities, some of you may know of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I work with a lot of their science and the projects that they're on, and they've paired up with HeartMath Institute for a long period of time. And HeartMath Institute, along with some other scientific creators, has created another version of the noise generator. Okay. Healy uses some technology like that inside to interface and interact with consciousness, right? With you as a consciousness. Well, guess what? HeartMath Institute has a program where they're putting these sensors all over the world, and they are exactly that. These are they're noise generators, and these noise generators interface with consciousness, and consciousness is a form of energy. And then they're just taking the readings, right? Just recording the readings. And they've got hundreds of these things all over the place. And if you guys look up HeartMath Institute and some of the noise generator research that they're doing, it's giving another level of validation, I guess you might say, to how these circuits work. Marcus knew that already. Right? That's why they're built the way they are. So great stuff out there, you guys.
Yep. So another comment on the expert programs. So Dory has some expert programs on the MagHealy, and they don't change to T2 as well. They always keep the names they came with. So again, interesting. Curious also, the MagHealy is a newer device, hasn't been out as long as the Healy. So I'm wondering when were those first expert programs sent to your Healy device, as far as what the naming convention was, or something like that. Maybe it could be that by the time the expert programs were available on the MagHealy, the new sort of naming convention was in place already, so there was nothing to really change possibly at that point. But
yeah, it is still two different devices and two different programs. Well, I mean, you're still using the pink dot, but it manages things a little bit different in the way it interfaces with the hardware. I would still go back to your practitioner and see if there's anything that they've made, any changes they've made. I'm not aware of them.
Mhm.
Thank you guys for your questions, by the way. This is, it's good to unpack these things.
Okay, what we have here. So for any of those of you that missed Healy for Beginners and Beyond last week, might have as well mentioned that it was a lot of fun, a lot of people on that call. We went through the advanced features, advanced settings, advanced features of the Analyze app itself. That recording's been on our YouTube channel for just under a week now. So actually, it was on last Tuesday. It was when we had that Healy for Beginners and Beyond. We went through all the advanced settings, when you might want to enable them. We had a little section on understanding negative relevancies as well. And then we kind of talked about each of the updates that were made available in the Analyze app. So definitely check out that recording. Again, it's on our YouTube channel at HealyAmericas.com. You'll see it right up there as one of the newest videos. And we actually showed on that call, we went through the whole process of how to record the vibration of a substance. For this particular example, we use an organic lavender essential oil. We showed how to actually edit an aura scan analysis and then add an entry for that specific substance too. So any of you that were kind of curious how that works, maybe you've heard about people doing that with their Healy device. We went through the whole process of how you actually do it and showed how to do it in the Analyze app within the Aura module itself. So it was a lot of fun. We had a guest appearance by Doc Steve as well. So Ken, myself, and Doc Steve were all on that together. So yeah, check out the recording as well. And yeah, a lot of fun.
It's good stuff. Hope you guys, and by the way, you guys, if you to find those recordings, of course, they're on the YouTube page. It's the Healy Americas YouTube page. It's let's see, let's put the link in the chat here. I don't see Anthony. He must have got lost somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, while Ken's putting the link into the chat there, the HealyAmericas.com, this is pretty much what it looks like when you come to that main page, and you'll see, at least on mine, the featured video might be different, but it's the May 7th Healy for Beginners and Beyond Analyze 2 app advanced settings and features added 6 days ago. And then of course, if you click on this, let's see, so ad playing there, but if you click on more here, and then you'll see each of the sections that we discussed are all hyperlinks. So the different updates that were made available, the export feature, or module, and then here you see at the 40-minute mark, we did a demonstration on lavender essential oil. If you click on that, it takes you right to that segment, and it shows exactly how to do that as well. And yeah, for those of you that also make sure you're checking the Healy World official YouTube channel on a regular basis. You see this shorts section. There's a lot of really cool videos added, again, on a very frequent basis as well. New content all the time. And then also, if you're interested in any of the Resonance podcast, Healy Horizon, or even those are the live episodes. Even if you're not watching it live, if you go back to the live section, you can watch the recordings for each of these as well. And then also definitely check out this Beyond Waves playlist. Kai, who's our product marketing specialist, does an amazing job on these, just kind of going through. These are shorter videos, I think like 6-7 minutes each, going through little, small overviews of the features, whether it's the coil, the device, unboxing, that kind of thing as well. Very helpful videos to go back and reference. So so much content, whether it's in the YouTube channel, whether Healy World Official or Healy World Americas, or on Academy as well. It's pretty much every week there's something that's added to each of these sections.
A lot of videos. What are we up to now? I mean,
I don't.
There's a lot of videos in there, you guys.
Yeah, there's. I mean, on the Healy World Americas, 328 videos up on there. So most of those are an hour. So yeah, you have. You can watch a video a day for almost every day of the year.
For the whole year.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We caught up, you guys? We're still up. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So YouTube channel, www.HealyAmericas. Americas.com. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, you guys, you can, now, if you want to save the chat, by the way, right there in the chat area or somewhere, there's 3 little dots, probably right below where you're going to type in your chat, your content, 3 little dots, click on those and you'll have the ability to save chat. And if you're on your, that's only if you're on your PC or laptop, click on those 3 little dots and it'll show save chat. So at the end of the call, you'll get this ability to save it. Let's see. Making sure it shows up on mine. Yeah, it might be at the very top of your screen. Like in the chat box at the top of the screen, 3 little dots, or maybe it's down where you're typing in your content for your chat. Again, look for those 3 little dots and it'll say, click on those, and it'll say, should say save chat. Okay. What else do we got, you guys? Pretty easy on us tonight. Thank you. Appreciate that. Dixie makes a comment that the blue app can run for hours if you want. Yes, that is true.
Yeah, that was related, I guess, to that question right above it. It said, I still don't understand why you run the Healy 2 app programs for a lot more time than the Analyze app programs. And yeah, we're basically referring to most of the programs in the Healy 2 app when you're, whether you're using the Coil or hooked up to the electrodes, most are in like that sort of 40 to 60 minute range. Some are as little as 20 minutes, some of those pain programs, but in general, it's kind of close to that hour mark, and that's the maximum duration. Some will finish early depending on how you're sort of resonating with those frequencies that are being sent. But yeah, in comparison to say the Analyze app, where the default vibration time is 1 minute and 20 seconds, it's like, okay, well, but it's completely different way of using it. You're actually, to get the benefit of the microcurrent, you need more than 1 minute and 20 seconds when you're doing this, versus when you're just sending information directly into the information field. There's a much wider range, and there's benefits as short as, actually even shorter than 1 minute and 20 seconds. You can do as little as a fraction of a second as well, but you have the flexibility to go up to as long as you want, hours or more as well, if you set that custom time. So it's not really, you can't really compare the durations between those two and say, well, why don't I need to run this for an hour if I do need to run that same type of program or program group for an hour in the Healy 2 app.
Well, let's go into the reason why, because we're looking at 2 very different parts of your existence. So this body is material matter, 3-dimensional space and time. So it has matter to it, and it's redeveloping itself to the tune of 800,000 cells per second, right? This is what's going on inside of your body. You're not doing any of that, right? I mean, if you think you are, well, I'll say, well, why don't you just slow it down or stop it for a minute? Stop that cell reproduction for a minute. No different than stopping your heart consciously. Those are things that are happening subconsciously, autonomically. Things are happening from essentially divine intelligence. But what keeps that you, the version of you, looking similar year after year over the period of time? There is a blueprint to you, a genetic coding system as well. There's a quantum version of you as well, meaning that there is essentially a vibrational state of you above what we would call density or matter. And that's within the consciousness of all things. Okay. So when we're looking at these 2 apps, the blue app and the pink app, the pink app is all about the physical. I mean, even though it's connected to the coil and sending magnetic waves out, its main purpose was always to address the physical 3-dimensional you. And that's why there's microcurrent either through wristbands, sticky pads, or converting that microcurrent into magnetic signals to, again, influence you in the tangible three-dimensional space. That's its purpose. To do that, it requires more time. The body is a mass and requires more time to shift these material signalings within our body, the cell structures, the systems, the organs. And microcurrent, even though it goes through the body as an electron flow at the speed of light, even though it's happening that fast, the cells that it's communicating with take longer to change. Your nervous system, your thoughts, your brain function, that can happen in an instant, the speed of light. I mean, for example, how many of you have ever had an aha moment? Anybody ever had an aha moment? Like you just learned something new and it's like, whoa, it shifts a lot of things about your beliefs instantly. Well, that changes the nervous system, but it doesn't mean that that aha moment is going to change your biology right then. It takes a little bit of time. Like for instance, you got a new understanding about a new way of, of eating or of working out or whatever it is. And you implement that, it takes a while for the body to change. But the blue dot works with a client and a quantum blueprint of you, not so much the physical blueprint. It's not sending microcurrent to you. It's not sending, a magnetic signal with the coil to you. It's imprinting content and information on your quantum blueprint, right? This is an energetic version of you. And so that can happen in an instant. It takes a millisecond for that to happen. That's why they're shorter. It doesn't take as long to apply that to your blueprint. You can run it longer. It just means that it's continuing to influence that blueprint over longer periods of time as you, from the conscious mind, are sabotaging that blueprint. Believe me, we're interfacing with it all the time. Einstein said decades ago that it is the observer effect that solidifies the waveform into matter, into material form, the wave into particle. All right. Our observer is this consciousness, this mind, this belief structure that then believes in a certain thing that the body then produces. The body is a result of all of that content you believe. If you don't think it's true, just change a belief and find out how your body changes. It will. And so where the blue app or the HealAdvisor Analyse app is interfacing with you is above your belief structures, outside of your tangible three-dimensional body, and changing the blueprint and the information. And those frequencies come down through your awareness and filter through your consciousness to be the body. It's very effective, but quite subtle. Just know that no matter what, the mind, the belief structures, the perceptions, the personality can still derail almost anything that you do for your health. If you don't believe me, well, you know how many times you've changed your diet and didn't believe in it and it didn't change much, right? The needle on your health doesn't change much until you get on board with the belief structure. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't see the chat lighting up with more questions, so it probably did make sense.
Thanks. Everyone was taking notes. So.
Well, you can go back and watch this recording because believe me, it is a bit to swallow. I mean, I understand, especially since the majority of us live in this three-dimensional world, and what we see, we believe, right? But just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not real. Just tune in your radio station in your car sometime. You're not seeing the music streaming through the air and going into your antenna and then playing out your speakers. Even the sound coming out of your speakers, you can't see, but you can sure perceive it, can't you? Right? How? Your senses. Your ears are designed to pick up those vibrations. Same thing with your body. Your body is built to pick up vibrational information. It's built that way. I often say your body's a walking, talking antenna. And the reason we know this is because, well, just walk into a room that and you get an analysis instantly, or you approach a stranger, you get an analysis instantly, right? This is a feeling of, whoa, hold on, something's wrong, or wow, I feel like I've known you forever.
Mhm.
Right? This is your what we call the reticular activating system, RAS for short. It is your radar reading the content all the time around you, right? It's your body is as an antenna. It's reading signals in the magnetic field. And we put them off and we receive them. So have anybody ever used the statement, "You're in my bubble"? Right? Hey, get out of my bubble, right? It's because you literally do have a receive and transmit bubble. And you can feel when somebody's close to you. Do this experiment if you want to have some fun. Close your eyes, right, and just tell someone in your environment, just get really start approaching me. Close your eyes, and then have them start approaching you without a sound, and see when your tingly senses start to light up.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome explanation. And yeah, Dory mentioned it's starting to make sense. So yeah, I mean, one of our Tech Tip Tuesday regulars, great to hear that, everything that's sort of being shared here is really helping with a greater understanding of exactly how the Healy works. So
This science is it's science, by the way. It's not science fiction. Once upon a time, it was believed that these were science fiction, right? I mean, how
yeah,
many of you guys remember the first people that had the little Bluetooth devices in their ear, the little beetle thing, right? And you're walking around, people are sitting there talking to themselves. It looked like it, but then you see there's this thing in their ear. And the only time you could reference seeing something like that in someone's ears is what? Star Trek. Remember that? Right? They had the little thing in their ear. So once upon a time that was science fiction. And it's not anymore. There's more computing power in these smart devices than there was in that launched the Apollo mission, right? And we went to space.
yeah,
And now we have more computing power in this guy. And it had to have we had to have the smart device in order to have apps to be able to move the science into a personalized wearable device such as Healy. So all these things had to come true. But the science has been around for a long time. Um, quantum entanglement has been around for a long time. It wasn't until 2022 that the Nobel Prize was assigned to that science, right?
yeah.
But it's been around for a long time. If you guys are familiar with Max Planck, so the quantum entanglement father, decades ago, awesome scientist.
Well,
Okay.
we've got a couple questions that came in here recently. One says, is it possible to run individual frequencies via the Analyze app instead of the Healy app? So this is a great question because yeah, we notice when you do an analysis, whether it's all Healy programs or just the programs within a specific group, you get a top five. And you go to vibrate them, it does the top five. You can't pick an individual group to run, but if you want to pick you get your top five list. You can then go run that one program in the Healy 2 app via the Coil or with the electrodes. But yeah, in the Analyze app, you can't pick this one program to vibrate for those results as well. At least not in the resonance analysis, you can edit entries and things like that in the say the Aura module, Coach module, as well, to where you could just delete all the entries instead of or just leave one there, or just again as we showed last week on Healy for Beginners and Beyond, you could delete all of them and just add a new entry as well. But that's as far as doing an analysis in the resonance module. Yeah, you can't just pick one to vibrate there.
Yeah, the closest you can get to is a whole page
Yeah.
of, one group. So you can, like if you're analyzing, if you're just using the database called fitness programs, it's
Yeah.
going to take all those and give you a list, the top 5, and you have to run those. The next part of that question was, and running 2 coils at the same time, can you do that? Yeah. If you have two Healy devices, 2 hardware devices, and you have 2 coils, the app will now activate multiple Healys, but again, only one at a time. So you can start a Healy program with a coil right on it, and adjust your intensity, get it started, get it running, and then hard close the app, and you'll notice the Healy will still keep running. The green light will still stay flashing on the original Healy. Then get a second device, turn it on, open the app again. It's going to find that second device, and then start it up in a program with a coil. And then you can shut the app off again if you wish. But those 2 will remain running the entire length of the program duration, whatever that is. And so, yeah, you can run 2 at the same time. I always question why one does what they do. So in other words, if we're working on tangible issues with the body, my recommendation is to start with the microcurrent. And the reason is because we're speaking directly to biology. We're speaking directly to that 3-dimensional space and time body. And science has proven that microcurrent increases ATP production by up to 500%. Now, ATP is adenosine triphosphate, which is it is the energy in a cell, right? And it's a molecule that gets replenished at a certain rate, right? It's the way the cell recharges, and it takes a certain amount of time. But microcurrent increases that modality up to 500%. Not only that, microcurrent increases protein synthesis, which is the way that cells utilize, or actually every function in your body is done with a protein. So the way proteins interface, it increases that by up to 70%. It increases amino acid transport by up to 40%. That's the microcurrent. Okay. So I always say, hey, let's do some microcurrent. If your body's tolerant to it, then why not? If you don't have any contraindicators as to why you can't, then why not? Right? The next level of effectiveness is the coil. And I don't like to use the level of effectiveness as an analogy, but it interfaces at different layers. Okay. The deep layer is microcurrent. The next layer is the HealyCoil and the magnetic energy. Then the next layer, the way outside layer, is the quantum field with the analysis engine. There's just different layers. Use them all.
Yeah. They all pair well together. So
Yes.
as Ken mentioned, the coil with coil is possible. Coil at the same time as using the electrodes. As Ken, you've done a lot of examples on that of 2 complementary programs as well. And then also MagHealy with the Healy at the same time. Another great combination as well.
Yep. And Dory asked, what do you mean by start by the microcurrent? Again, remember the Healy has various ways of applying the frequencies. One way is the microcurrent, which is where you're connected with the wires in the wristbands or the electrodes, the sticky pads. And Healy puts out a signal, energy through those wires that go through the body. And I always say, hey, if you're going to do an analysis on the content, the database within the pink dot, and it reveals a very specific program for you, I always say run that program in the microcurrent modality. Okay. Again, if you don't have any contraindications why you can't, right? This is important. And you can tolerate that modality, then just give it a test drive and see how it affects you, how it influences you. It really talks to the body in a very profound way. Okay. Anything you want to wrap up with, Jake?
And yeah, just join us tomorrow for What's Up Wednesday. It'll be a little bit shorter, probably half an hour, 45 minutes at the most, but we got some great tips and content also related to Academy. And then yeah, I mean, hope to see if anyone's coming to homecoming there in Cancun. And Ken, I know I'll see you 2 days from now, which will be great together in person there. Looking forward to it's going to be such an amazing event. And you know, for those of you that can't make it, I'm sure we'll be sharing lots of exciting announcements and recaps as well in the following week. So
Excellent. Well, thank you guys for being here. Again, like I said, save that chat if you found some content in there you want to keep. Otherwise, I'm not sure if we'll be back next week. We'll see.
Possibly, yeah. We'll let you know.
We'll keep you posted. We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, have a great evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Watch for the recording, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye for now.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.